challenge Gen Zers.
You know, you say that, Gen Z is on their phones, they're watching television all the time, but the parents are Gen Xers. TikTok is ruining attention spans, but didn't MTV did the same thing?
Oh, good gosh.
Like,
Who's going to survive? Who's going to survive better with the power? If you pull the plug to the grid and the grid shuts down and there is no electricity whatsoever, who's going to survive? Gen X or Gen Z?
Welcome back, guys, to another episode on the ZCAST. I'm Zachary Alleccia, and welcome back to another episode. Guys, we're in a new studio. It's been some moving over the past couple months, but we're back with new videos every week coming up soon. Guys, I have a really special podcast lined up for today. The first podcast back in our new studio is a good podcast debating over Gen X and Gen Z. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, supporting the Gen Z side, Jake Sanchez, and supporting the Generation X is John Elliott. Guys, thank you for joining the podcast. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for having us.
Going good.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we have some big topics. John brought up to me you want to have a podcast over about how these young kids these days, don't know what really life is about. And so we're really going to start hammering these questions along. We have Jake here to support it. We're going to ask some of these questions that I've gathered from the public and some other people across the board. So let's just get going. Let's talk about the basic topic of social media. What are your guys' pros and cons of social media in general, between the negatives, the positives, or anything in general?
Well, I guess I'll start us off on this one. Social media in itself, I don't really mind it, but I think it is getting taken advantage of. So there are a lot of pros and cons I will go on and talk about through this. Pros wise, I would think that it's really like getting to see other people, like other people's lives, and trying to match it. But that's also a con in its own sense, because when you're trying to match your life to someone else's, you're never going to be happy. I mean, that's honestly a major con that's going on in social media today.
I came in when there was social media. It started out, I'll date myself a little bit, MySpace, then came Facebook, so on and so forth. But when I came into social media, it allowed me and my generation to be able to reconnect with, friends, like high school, whatnot. I will say this much with the Gen Z, the younger generation, y'all get to stay in contact. Y'all get to stay in contact with each other moving forward through life. Me, I went to school, graduated, went off to college. From there, bam, 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 and then you lose that connection.
Oh, for sure.
You lose that connection. So I see where social media is a good thing, but I feel like that where the younger generation, I guess I could say I go to the social media to learn things. Yeah. And then, but y'all go to it and you're wanting likes and views, and it just, your whole world seems to wrap around it.
I think as Gen Z, we try to focus more on validation. I mean, really, that's what it is. I mean, we want validation, we want approval from others with social media, and that's the best way to do it.
For sure. I mean, like, the reason this is just big in general, I do my podcast because I want to have fun. I mean, I don't care about how many people see this video, how much world gets out there or whatever, if it gets trending in Lorena or whatever. No. The reason, I choose to do podcasting or like to, go on social media is just for entertainment reasons. Now, there is times when social media can be, obviously, abused in different ways, but I feel like that's why when I started my podcast, I was like, okay, we're going to start something different here. I got to keep myself busy. Let's do the podcast,
Yeah, and I like the fact that I can go on Facebook and I can see friends that I went to college with, whoever, see their life. I mean, that's the enjoyment that I get, to be able to see what people are doing, what their kids are doing, so forth and so on, that that are halfway across the state, But on the other hand is, I think where, and I get to we seem to be on our phones all the time to a certain extent, is, social media is great. It's just put it down, walk away from it, and have that human contact with your neighbors. I know because I came from the country, moved to the city at one point in time in my life, not the big city, but I moved to the city and where I'm at now. And something that I noticed where I grew up, where everybody's outside, neighbors are talking to each other, different things like that. And then I'm in a neighborhood and I'm just like, people go to work, they come home, they go inside, you never see anybody.
For sure.
And I think that also has to do with, and Jake, you can probably support me on this one, like in general, back then, so like for like my parents, they're obviously baby boomers and you're Gen X, and so your entertainment was go outside, go have fun, go throw a ball around, or go play baseball with your friends, or soccer, or football. For us, it's like, dude, when you hopping on Fortnite?
Yeah.
So it's like, or when you're hopping on Call of Duty, so it's
Yeah.
like, and and like, well, I mean, when we grew up, me and Jake, I mean, we talked about this on the side, we decided to, okay, there's a time when we have to go outside and have fun and go out, and I mean, when I grew up, I did that. But when I started getting older, I realized, okay, well, I'm more inside, and more of my friends are online, and that's where I noticed a shift completely, especially social media.
Well, and that's where y'all get to stay in contact with each other. But the thing that I've always opposed to, when I was teaching, and I would, say things to, I hear different kids talking and whatnot, and it all had to do with social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, when do you ever just like take a break from each other? In other words, I mean, okay, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
And I used to pose this question. You're in a relationship, you're dating, you're going out. With the way y'all are on social media, what do you have to talk about on a date?
Ooh.
Because you're always, what each other's doing. You're even where your exact location throughout the day. So, I mean, what do you talk about on a date?
I mean, I think that really social media has ruined relationships, especially Gen Z wise. I mean, even with your point, I'm gonna back you up on this. Like, I haven't been on a date in a long time, so I really don't even know what to talk about. I mean, if I talk to them, I mean, it's gonna be so little. It's so little communication because I know what they're doing throughout the day. We keep up with each other, but there's nothing to talk about. I mean, dates are basically pointless now unless you get rid of social media.
Yeah, well, or if you just go do something like go to the movies.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to talk, you watch the movie and go on. Thinking back when I was your age and dating and whatnot, it's like, no, if you were dating someone from another town, you make one phone call to be able to line out the date for the weekend, and it's like, but you had all week of what went on in your life, what went on in their life, that when Saturday rolled around, you picked them up and you went out on the date. We could talk about what went on between the last date and then.
And John, actually this leads us into kind of like our next kind of like question for this. The big topic right now is obviously helping and supporting fixing mental health and younger students and stuff. And a lot of it is with social media. It lessens human interaction. Mm-hmm. Your friends either just want to sit down, relax on social media, or it just weakens the times of friends being there. Now, there'll be people out there that say, no, that's not true. Social media brings people together, which it does. But I want to hear you guys' opinion on this. What in ways does this affect either mental health, or if it affects, less human interaction with individuals?
What do you think?
Ooh, well, I think that with social media wise, with going into mental health, that is a huge factor in mental health today. I mean, there is a test that people run on Gen Z and even younger generations, Gen A now, that they're running on these kids that are in schools with social media. I mean, even I was afraid to even talk to a therapist about issues going on in my life. And most of that was social media. I mean, the main cause of that was social media. It gave me anxiety, and that is a main leader in social media mental health, is anxiety. I mean, that's why people don't go outside anymore, really, to talk to anybody. It gives them anxiety.
Yeah, and that's, what I see in it all, because, okay, I've opened my eyes and my thought process of dealing with the younger generation, especially being an educator, and dealing with this and seeing it. At first, I was like, anxiety, depression. What what's out there to be depressed about? You're just a kid. You got everything in the world going for you. if there's anybody that ought to have been depressed and have anxiety, is the Gen Xers, because we didn't have all the information that y'all have. But as I've gone along, I've seen where, okay, all this pressure with social media, because you want to be like this person. There's all this, I got to dress a certain way. I got to do it this way. I got to do that. But the biggest thing is, and you're going to have this throughout life. Every generation is going to deal with it. I can remember as we just used to tease people, and now it's, oh, we're bullying. You know, it's almost kind of like, well, keep your opinions to yourself. My dad, and this is that old school way, if you're not going to say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
100%. If there's some of the things that we could get back to, the simple things, and I'll say it plenty of times over, why worry about things that you have no control over? But that's what I learned, that, the younger generation would be like, the least little thing would just be, oh gosh, I didn't know, and then I need that quiet time. But yet, there again, I wonder if, because of the reason that we have everything handed to us, things are easier, social media is there. I use social media, but I use it to learn things, to get information, to find out what people are doing and what's going on in the world. But I feel like that with the mental stress of everything is we've just raised the bar.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's what Facebook originally was for. I mean, it was to check up on friends. It was to see what your friends were doing, like for you, like when you were younger, for college, like your college buddies. Like, people did that and got on Facebook for that reason. Like, hey, I wonder how so-and-so's doing, without having to call them. Like, you could see someone grow up without actually seeing them. That was what social media was created for, and now it's taken a whole nother turn, and it's harming people at this point.
And yeah, I mean, like, being someone who grew up like from 2004 on, I mean, now you have some people that are like 2006 or 7. I noticed like how social media evolved and changed. I mean, it went from, I don't know, God, what was it? Twitter, obviously Twitter went from to X, and then originally, what was Facebook? What was it?
Facebook was Facebook.
Was it just Facebook?
Yeah,
Because there was other. It's not off the top of my head, but there was other companies that would go from one group, or they get bought out by another, by these newer tech savvy giants who knew what the social media, what these kids wanted, and how to kind of put them in I don't say like a mindset, but kind of put them into, well, guess what? We're gonna turn it to how we want you to think, so you can spend more time on our app, so we can make more money.
Well, yeah, and that's hey, I call it the chicken theory. If I tell you, Jake, enough times that you walk and talk like a chicken, in time, you're going to start questioning, do I walk and talk like a chicken? And as crazy as that may sound, that's what's happening with social media, is they've got, kids out here thinking they have to walk and talk like a chicken if they're going to fit in. I feel like social media has taken away the real you. It is not allowed, and that's where my generation, okay, granted, we may have not had the opportunities that you guys have today, because with the internet and everything that y'all know, not that we didn't have the internet, but we kind of were the first stage of the internet. So we didn't have the places where you could go and learn things and see things, and you could go try something out before you even, got to even do it. With us, it was all like trial and error. But I think what it's done is because we've had to, fight for ourselves. We didn't have a YouTube to go to every time you turn down.
For sure.
We didn't have, not that I'm not going to say that I don't take and pick up my cell phone, pull up a YouTube video and learn something to go do it. But we were just thrown out there to the wolves and said, all right, when the sun starts going down and the street lights come on, as they like to say, then come to the house because dinner will be ready.
Yep.
We didn't have that.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to fight for ourselves. And if we didn't have, I guess to sum this up is on the internet with social media, with us, it was 3 or 4 of us hanging out, and one of us may sit there and make fun of the other 3 of us, or you goofy thing, why did you do that? Whatever it may be. It was just our little group on social media. It's the World Wide Web. It's everybody. And you're going to have those people that are going to be there for you, that are going to support you. But then you're going to have those people that they woke up in a bad mood. So let's just make sure that the rest of the world is suffering and not having a good day just like me. And I think that's where the problem is there's always somebody out there that wants to, it's easy to say something bad about somebody. It's not that easy, or we find it hard not to say something nice about somebody. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean, this kind of transitions us into this interesting topic. You guys actually brought it up earlier, which is social media versus relationships. Now, the word relationships can be defined as either you're dating somebody, or it can be defined as a friendship. So now, this leads to me with a question: with Gen Z in general, we spend a lot of our time on our phone, obviously. So how does this affect relationships? Basically, like friendships or even dating.
Like I said a minute ago when we were talking about that, there's nothing to really talk about when you've been talking to each other all day. Like, I like what you said earlier, John, about yeah, I have my entire week. She has her entire week. We get together one day and we talk about everything that happened throughout that week. That's dating. Like, that would be a good date because you get to figure out stuff that's going on in each other's lives instead of, hey, let me just text her real quick. But like when it comes to friendships, especially, like I'll send my friends a bunch of like stupid videos and stuff, just to get a laugh out of them. And right there's a problem. I mean, it humors me, but what humors me might not humor someone else. So there's always that issue like, hey, why'd you send me that? It's like, oh, I thought it was funny. It's like,
I think both generations, because we all are both on social media and things, and we can text, whether we're on social media or not, we can just text. But I think we're both guilty of that. It was funny to me, but it may not be funny to them.
Yeah. I mean, even especially like when I was really young, my parents had just gotten an iPhone, and it was to the point where my parents really didn't at the time know how to properly use the phone. And in the car on the way to getting food or something, they're like, hey, Mom, can I play on your phone? Or, hey, Dad, do you have any games on your phone? And that is a huge thing today is like, even though like we were born as Gen Z, we were born in with technology, where Gen X wasn't at the time, that I knew how to work the phone really well, and I still teach my grandpa, I still teach my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, my cousins. I still teach them how to use phones because everything about it is changing. Even at the office, there's still people like, hey, how do I do this? Or we were trying to find a part the other day, or trying to figure out what a part was to a vehicle, and we ended up having to use Google. We used AI to figure out, hey, that's what this part is. And it was like in a second, like in an instant. It took that picture, it analyzed it, and that's what is happening with like relationships. Office relationships, I would be very surprised if they still last.
Yeah, and John, this question that I have for you next really backs up Jake's point. And I got this from one of our viewers. They wanted to know, does Gen X find it easier to trust relationships because they aren't built without a digital filter?
That's a good one. I would say I don't know. In relationships today, and it's tough. The bar is set so high. I really feel for you. Now, hey, I don't mind saying I'm a single man. I did the marriage thing at one point in time in my life. I didn't, I did everything that I thought I could in my relationship. And like any relationship in any generation, you're going to have your ups and downs. I didn't want to be another statistic or a good country and western song. But you know what? Things happen and you move on. And, but it's hard, even just dating period, because the things that come along with what can be said, what can't be said. With social media, it's like, oh, wow, the knowing exactly your location. It's like everybody wants to know so much about each other. It's more like you lose that trust.
It's a huge insecurity.
Why? It's like, why do you want to know? Why do you want to know where I'm at 24/7?
I may not be answering the question that was asked, but the thing is, when you go your separate ways, and here's the other thing that I may add here is what I see, because hey, I had the failed relationship, so I can, tell you where I could have fixed things and done things better. But what I do know is with social media and the younger generation and such, and the whole dating and relationships, is you know everything about each other, and you're up each other's rear all the time. You don't have any me time.
Yeah.
In other words, she needs her time, he needs his time. You need to go be with your friends, and you need to go do things. But here's the thing is, that still happens just like it did for us in our day. But you're texting each other on the phone while you're out with your buddies.
Yep. And that has
You're out having a good time. You might be fishing, doing whatever, just hanging out.
and it all goes back to that.
But you're still texting each other. So technically, you're not really having that me time or that guy time or the girl time, because you're on the phone with each other. And even with you're out on a date, how many of you can say that are Gen Zers, say that you've been out on a date and you didn't look at your cell phone one time? That you put, in other words, I challenge Gen Zers.
Okay.
Go out on a date and leave your cell phone in the car. Go out on a date, go to dinner, go to the movies, go do whatever, go to Top Golf, whatever you want to go do something, and leave the cell phone in the car.
Exactly. And I mean, like, this is interesting because, like, I've done research and I've done polling and kind of viewed some of these things. And actually, when you were speaking of that, polling did come up how failed dating relationships or dates have gotten failed because of things. Well, he did this or they did that, and it turned them off basically because they're all on their phone. They don't care about their interaction with them.
Yeah. Well, you're more worried about the phone, and it's okay. I'm guilty of it too, and it's like, okay, I'm doing this podcast. I took my phone. I could have put it on airplane mode and just silenced everything, but I actually turned some notifications off because I didn't want my phone bebopping around.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. but even at that, and speaking of that, I got somebody calling me right now, and I didn't put this on mute.
It's all right. It's all good.
Hey, that's part of life. But the thing about it is we are connected, and that's good.
Oh yeah.
That is good. But I guess in conclusion to this is that even when you're on that date or you have this phone close by, human nature is going to have you want to look.
Oh yeah.
And so if you can take that phone and leave it in the car, it's kind of like what my dad said. And, $100 bills today are like $20 bills. But put a $100 bill in your pocket. Put it in your wallet. And see if you can go a whole month without spending it. That's control.
Yeah.
That's control. Same thing with the phone. This technology and the cell phones and social media, even though some say it might go away, it's going to always be there. The connection's going to be there. So what you have to do is be able to disconnect from it.
Oh, for sure.
And Jake, obviously we asked John this one. We're gonna ask you now. Okay. Gen Z is known for situationships and a casual dating. Is this a result of social media's influencers?
Honestly, I think it goes back to validation. It goes because like you can see someone like I'll admit it. I've gone to YouTube and there will be people that I watch and they're out on a date, but they're recording it, so it's like not as special as like an actual date would be. It's like, oh hey, I'm just doing this for the views. But I think when it comes to that, it's like, hey, I want to have the perfect date, but with social media, we can't have, or we don't know what the perfect date is as a Gen Z. Like Gen X, baby boomers, millennials, they have an idea or the ideal idea of what an actual date is. Like putting your phone away. And like even like just bringing this up to what you just finished a second ago was like going outside and like hanging out with somebody. I even turn my phone off. My phone's on silent. It's in my back pocket. I'm not looking at it because I know the minute I do, I'm gonna get sucked into it. It's like nicotine. And I had someone tell me this. If you smoke, you're going to have trouble quitting. And like it's even hard for me to not want to go back onto my phone, into the app store and download more social media. But I've gotten to the point where I realized, hey, I need to do this. I need to get off of social media because it was just affecting me horribly. Like my sleep schedule's all messed up. But that also goes into effect of validation. Like, hey, yeah, no, I'm staying up this late. I mean, when we were kids, Zach, you might agree to this as well. But like, hey, how long did you stay up last night? Oh, like, oh yeah, I stayed up till 9.
Dude, I ask that like almost every day for anybody. And he's like, how long you stayed up last night? Well, I stayed up till 1 a.m. Yeah, I got you by 2 hours. And so like that's the big thing. And I mean, that's where we kind of switch it now. You guys, I want to switch up topics, but we're going to go to another big one. And this is pop culture icons. We're going to kind of change it up a little bit instead of a little bit of debate. And we're talking about some pop culture icons, but we're going to start it off really strong, John. TikTok is ruining attention spans, but didn't MTV did the same thing?
Oh, good gosh. When MTV came out, it was like, don't watch it. It's gonna rot your brain out. I mean, we didn't have that much channels and such to be able to watch anyway, but when MTV came out, it was like, oh my gosh, you're actually gonna get to see, we were listening to Casey on, the countdown.
Oh yeah.
The top 40 countdown, and we would hear the music. And every generation is like, oh, that music's gonna, gosh. I mean, you look at the boomers, and it's like Elvis Presley. Oh my gosh, he's gonna rot your brain. He's gonna, look at him dancing up there on the stage. But every generation has got that part. But MTV, it was just videos. It was just a video. But parents, the boomers, they thought. My parents thought that you watched that MTV and you actually saw them. Because, I mean, you think about it, is like Aerosmith and some of those bands, the hair bands. Here's these, rockers up there. And that's when MTV had all of that. But compare it to TikTok, I don't know. Between the two of them, I think they both have their points. The thing about it is, it's like, and I say this with anything, whether it's something you don't like, whether it's something that's too much time, as we talked about with social media, you got to be able to just turn the TV off. You've got to be able to turn the radio off. You've got to be able to put your phone down and walk away from it. So it's anything that you overindulge in is going to cause problems. But what I will say about social media and with pop cultures and everything, there are some really cool people out there that are getting noticed. That is one thing I will say about social media. And since we're talking about pop cultures and music and things of that nature, there's people getting found.
Oh, yeah.
There are some really talented, and you look on there, and there are a few of these younger generation kiddos that I follow that they are definitely. I'm like, wow. And you look at some of them. I mean, they sit there and they're just kind of like, they're sitting there in their bedroom playing the piano or playing the guitar or whatever it is, and then they get noticed and they get found and they get a recording.
Oh my! And so, like, it's with TikTok. I mean, TikTok is, and I'll actually benefit it. I'll support it for this side. TikTok has given a lot of younger creators, or basically people that have not even been on the spotlight, chances to. Because I mean, like, for example, I would just scroll through TikTok, and then someone would, like, this random profile will have 400,000 likes, close to 3-4 million views. They only have 500 followers or less, and it's like, okay, well, who's actually controlling this? Obviously, it's TikTok, but are they doing this in a way of it being a good thing? Or is it being in a way of a good or bad thing?
Well, there's a lot of what TikTok does, and a lot of them, and I'm not here to sit here and tell a company how to run their business. I can agree to disagree on a lot of things. But, and something with TikTok, and we all know that it's kind of on the bubble, whether it's going to be here, whether it's not. I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think it's just a way to, oh my goodness, let's just, TikTok may be going somewhere. It may be taking off. Hey, it's no different than they're going to run a clearance sale on something, and everybody rushes to go buy it, and then 3 months later,
TikTok on sale.
It's like, it's back. They didn't. It's not going anywhere. But what I will say is sometimes we don't pick out the important things. And one thing with TikTok, since we're talking about it, and them being on the bubble, is the creators that are actually making money. The small business, the mom at home with 3 kids, the retired, the retired grandpa that's making something, building something, all the leather work, all the jewelry, all of the stuff that ties in and helps you through all that. So in this culture, social media and everything involved around it, this is where everybody at any age level, the grandma that's 90 years old, that her daughters runs her around, that is enjoying life more because she's going places and the social media loves her. Yeah.
And this is big. So with pop culture icons, this was brought up to me by a close friend actually about 2 weeks ago. Actually, it was at my party, Jake. Someone goes, I find music very relaxing and it puts me in a good mental state. And I asked, what music really puts you in a good mental state? I like classical music. Okay, so if that puts you in a mental state, that's perfect. But now some people even said, like, around your time, The Crew, Nirvana.
Oh, we gotta go back. We gotta get into Hewitt. We gotta get back, and I'll go the country and the pop rock. Kenny Rogers, Alabama. Those guys like that. I mean, and Ronnie Millsap, to name a few. And then Men at Work, Huey Lewis in the News.
Oh yeah,
Michael Jackson. Oh yeah. I mean, the list goes on and on. And if I could just quickly add into that is and I listen to my 80s. I listen to all genres. I like the new, like the old. Yes, there's that whole thing about new country, old country, and it's not or is or whatever. Hey, if it's got a beat, I'm listening to it. I like happy-go-lucky stuff. The big thing is that our music of my generation, I may step on some toes, but to me, it's the best music out there.
So that is the next kind of question I was going to ask you all guys. Which generation had the best pop culture? And I mean, you guys can debate about it. That's up to y'all.
I mean, who would be your favorite in your generation?
In my generation? Ooh, that's
what artist right now would you say is your top one that you would say, hey, this is king?
Probably Lady Gaga.
Oh, well.
No,
I wouldn't say. Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even really listen to much Gen Z music. I really like old classics.
Well, and see, that's the reason I'm asking that question.
Like like you said, Kenny Rogers. I listened to George Strait on the way here. I love old music, and it makes me happy. And then you have these new artists coming in. Like, it's great music, don't get me wrong, but it's how they promote themselves through social media, through their music, and that's what I don't like.
And like, for example, like us and Gen Z, I talked about this yesterday at workout. There's a huge uptick right now of going up with, people are listening to more records. Vinyl records are making a huge comeback. VCR, maybe not, probably not.
I hope not.
But vinyl records, like for me, I love vinyl records. I've been very authentic to vinyl records, and I started buying more. My dad's like, dude, when did you ever get involved with vinyl records? I said, I can't stand it on Spotify. It just doesn't sound like you're there. Yeah. I want to hear it like I'm there. And so, then the AI is going to make that even better in the future. But, it's today I'm like,
Well, that's it. Hey, that's like that's like the just purchased a new TV, and it only does the good quality 4K when it is actually, because it wasn't the most expensive TV, but it's an upgrade. Well, what I like about it is, and I never thought anything about it until I actually started, watching. If it's current 4K, then I get this great, crisp, clear picture. But if it's something like a sitcom or movie from way back when, then it comes through just like I used to watch it on a TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't upgrade. It doesn't automatically upgrade it like a crystal clear one would that allows you, no matter what, it's going to upgrade the picture. So I like the nostalgia. So, and I've noticed that, which I guess, my generation has been around long enough now that there's because we had the generation of, we got into bringing back trends from past generations. Well, now our generation's been around enough that everybody is going back to the 80s and the 90s, because the kids today, it's like the brush proper shirts, listening to more of the vinyls and and the country music and all that. But I think draws, and this is where I will say my era and the music that we had. Number one is I can understand what they're singing.
Yeah.
Number two is they're not saying explicit things. Now there is that's the part that I don't get is where you feel like, you know, and I'm not perfect. I'm gonna say a cuss word here and there, but I don't see where it's like I can't listen to that because every other word has got a cuss word in it, and I'm like, why? Where did that become the norm? And that's where I think a lot of you all are going, the ones that don't like that.
Yeah.
And it just irks me when I have something come across my For You page and it's somebody
Well,
dancing.
hopefully this comes across your For You page.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
then, you know, it sits there and, you know, here's somebody, and some of them, it's like good kids. And you know what? If it's one that I know, I'll call them out and go like, why did you use that song in your video?
Yeah.
You're better than that.
Well, guys, we're going to hit nostalgia a little bit later on, but I want to bring up the next big topic because it's going to take some time. And this does hit your department, John, the education system.
Oh, yeah.
The education system. And so, is traditional schooling still effective in preparing us students for the real world? Jake, you're in college. I'm in college. You taught at former schools before. So, John, I want to hear both of you guys' opinion on this. Do you think we, or younger generations now that are in school right now, or even ones that are just starting school, are they even still being taught for the real world?
No.
Well, yeah. You want to go first?
I can if you want.
Well, let me just throw this out there because, you know, I might forget because I'm old and, you know, senile and whatnot, so I may forget.
Nah, you're not.
Plus my ADD kind of has me jumping all over the place. So, a couple of things. And you and I had this conversation before. I'm going to ask you it again. Is school fun? I mean, in general, was high school fun? Now, be real. I mean, be honest. Now, there was moments that it was fun, but
Yeah.
I mean,
No, there are a ton of moments I can recall that I had a blast. I had the time of my life in high school.
but did you look forward to going to school most of the time?
Majority of the time, yes, I did because I got to go see my friends every day. I mean, did I like the curriculum I was learning? Absolutely not. No. Did I care for it? No, because I'm not going to use it in my everyday life, except maybe English and maybe math. I mean, doing business management, you have to have some form or fashion of math every day. I mean, I want to go into the stock market. I have to know numbers really well. So stuff like that, yeah, I understand. Okay, I have to know that. But when you have art and then you have all these other classes you don't really look forward to, I mean, no offense, Zach, but like theater, I never really was into it.
That's all right.
It's not something that I could say, hey, I can't wait. Like, I would wake up in the morning like, oh, wait, I have theater today. No, it was, well, I have theater today. Crap. I want to try to skip it. I mean, it would be like that because I never enjoyed it. But there's classes that I was like, oh, yeah, no, I cannot wait to get to class. I love this class. And, like, if it was a class I really enjoyed, I'm getting there early. I'll talk to my teachers. I love all my teachers. And then I will stay after the bell, and I will still talk to them about the curriculum that we were learning.
Personal connection.
Yeah.
I've done that a lot with my teachers.
Oh, especially in college. Like, having a personal connection with your professors is phenomenal. I mean, they love that. They want you to come to their office and talk. I mean, you could probably relate to that. You were a teacher.
Well, okay, and to add to that, and I probably would say there's a 50-50 on my question because I've asked that question before to younger kids, and you say for the most part yes, but there's a lot of them that'll say no, school was not fun, and I contribute that to the part of that with social media, and we're going back to that, but not dwell on it. That with social media, see, back in my day, our social media was hanging out at lunchtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we went to school. Now, granted, I'll go ahead and tell you that this is part of one generation to the next that'll never change. I didn't like school either. I had some classes that I liked better than others. Math was hard for me, so I despised it. You know, when I got to college, I finally got a professor that told me and explained to me what the X and the Y was when it came to algebra. And I was like, gee, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So that's what it means. But the bottom line is I think on the education side of things, and that's the reason I asked that, is school isn't fun anymore. No, we have put too much pressure on things, and I'm just speaking from experience. I'm not trying to come up with a better game plan. I'm not trying to. Yeah, I'm just speaking my opinion. Number one is we want to prepare them for the real world, but we do not want to be honest with you. Yeah. I felt like when I was teaching, it's like, hey, this is what we teach. And some of it, yes, I understand and I get. Why do I have to do that? Well, there's if I can give you some advice, that why do I have to take this and I don't know why and this is pointless? Well, guess what? There's going to be things that you're going to do in every job that you ever have that you're going to be like, well, I'm going to do it, but I don't want to, but it's part of my job, so I have to. Yeah. And then the other, I always said if 25% of the time is what I disliked about school or my job, but 75% I liked it, we're doing good. And so there's always going to be that. So I think you have to realize in school, and this is where school and parents and society and teachers don't explain enough. I did. I wore myself out explaining a lot. But it's like, hey, here's the real world. Because I did the real world first and then went into teaching. So I had, and she's cruel. She'll chew you up and spit you out in a heartbeat. And, this do-over, and that's where school is, where you can fail, fix, and succeed.
And now it's like, that's where you go bring up your point. They're very hard and very strict on their students. Now, some teachers have the struggle of they have strict on their students. Oh, principal, hey, parent, this teacher was rude to me. But in all honesty, they were just kind of hitting you with reality.
Yeah. Here's where school needs to take and be school. Now, I'm not here to talk about what we're teaching, how we're teaching it, or anything like that. I'm just looking at the structure of these schools and what needs to be done. And we keep going back to social media, the cell phones, and technology. There needs to be a separation. As we always say, separation between, a lot of things. But there needs to be, school is there for you to take and send your kids for an education. Yeah. Whether it's private, whether it's public, and guess what? Public schools, it's a privilege. It's a privilege for you to be able to take your kids to those schools. Yes, you're turning your kids over, but here's the thing. I'm comparing my generation and when I was in school versus what I've seen and what's going on now for y'all's generation. If we could separate and take the phones away and not have, I would see kids, when we go back to that question about anxiety and stuff, well, I would see kids flip out because their parents would text them and they would like, hey, Mr. Elliott, can I text my mom and let her know that, she texted me and I need to get it? Well, if you said anything to the parents, it's like, well, no, they don't need to be texting. They can do it at lunch or between, passing periods. Yeah, but the stress that the kids, I was like, please, just step out in the hall, respond and go. I mean, I understand. If you're going to get that worked up, just do it and get it over with and do that. But the thing is, there's all this connection, and teachers are not allowed to just stand up there and teach and the students, they always have everybody coming at them from all these different directions because, it's just like if I go to work and I go you're at work. Yeah. You do your job. You clock in and then you clock out. Do you have any, even at work, you have that. I think when we separate and we put the cell phones down, we put them away, and we have to concentrate on what we're doing at hand. You go to class, teacher teach. There's no distractions. You're always going to have the ups and downs, but there again, you go there to learn. You go there for all the other things like sports. I was an ag teacher, so there was the FFA and all the CTEs, with the judging contest and the ag mix and all this. Then there's band. There's all these.
There's so many things.
Oh, there's so many things. And I will, in conclusion, say that when I was in school and comparing the two, we still had sports. We still had band. We still had theater. And you may not know this, but I did theater. I did one act
okay.
play. But my
It's a challenge.
Well, but here's my thing is, I went to a 1A school. It took everybody and everything to make it all work.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in high school, George Von Stosh, I remember him playing football and then coming out at halftime playing a trumpet solo in the marching band.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's an example. But the bottom line is, we've got to make school fun. We've got to bring back the basic principles of what education is and quit raising the bar. And I know I'm probably running over time here, but one other quick thing while it's on my mind, just go to school, graduate. And if you want to go to a technology school like TSTC for 2 years, if you want to go to a 4-year university, if you want to go to a 2-year junior college or community college, that's fine. But do everything on the same playing field.
Recently, the Texas Hill Country has been hit by a very devastating natural disaster. Serious floods began after the extreme rainfall on July 4th holiday and the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry that struck the Gulf of Mexico. This led to an emergency search and rescue with the resulting of 135 people dead and still many missing after filming this podcast. Residents of the Kerr County area suffered extreme loss and devastation to many homes. Many of the deaths were from a local girls' camp that they were there over the summer. Early on July 3rd, the National Weather Service issued a flood watch, resulting in an upgrade to a flash flood emergency. With the quickly rising floodwaters of the Guadalupe River rising more than 40 feet in 90 minutes, resulted to the tragic loss of life. Today, many of those families mourn the loss of their loved ones and family members, but you can make a difference today. John Elliott and I have partnered together to buy t-shirts from the Texas FFA website, where they were donating to the local flood victims and families of the community, as you can see. But with the shirt donation coming to a close, there's still a way you can donate to make an impact. Even though it's been months since the event and there are still many struggling to rebuild, if you want to help donate and make an impact today, you can go to Kerr County Relief Funding or the QR code at the top of the screen here to go to or down in our description, and you'll see all the funds will be directly vetted to local relief organizations and providing rescue, relief, and recovery flood assistance. Thank you so much for your support, and our prayers go out to the ones that were lost in this tragic event, and we pray for those families in need. And now, back to the video. A poll states that students say that online learning is just as effective as in-person education. John, what is your opinion on that? Or Abe, let's start with Jake on this one, actually.
Yeah, I'll take this one first to start off. Online learning. Okay, so personally, I cannot learn online to save my life. I can't do it. There's nothing that you can do to help me online. I have to be in front of a professor or a teacher face to face to learn. And the best instance of this was COVID. And when COVID happened, everything got shut down. Everything went on Zoom. Everything went online. So that was the best time to learn, especially for businesses too. Not in a good sense, like, hey, now you have to learn everything online, do everything online. But like student wise, yeah, everything was done online, and like you had to basically get up and you just turn on your camera. But there was also parts in time where online teaching myself online, it was not the best because I would just slide my phone over and just start texting on my phone, or I just scroll through social media. I'd mute myself so they don't see me, or they don't hear me, but I'd have my camera on and I'm just scrolling through social media. I mean, I wasn't really paying attention because I wasn't having face-to-face contact. I wasn't around people like to help me. And it was literally me and a screen. That's it.
Yeah, and that's where I would add where you have an actual teacher. And I'm all about the human connection.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a part that online is okay. I'm not against, educating online, but there's no structure. You just said it. You're on your phone, social media. Nobody said anything. Or when you're doing the online stuff and you could be on your phone and have that phone right up there and pull something up and have AI give you the answer that you're interacting with the professor or the teacher that you're online with. So there's no structure there to be able to actually hold or you to feel accountable for what you're doing. Not that hand. I mean, I've always said, it's with the technology and everything, and even going with the everything on the computer. Pull the plug and turn the power off. And what do we do next?
And that's scary. I mean, a lot of people don't. Okay, and this has nothing to do with the classroom, but we all three know this, and a lot of people out there might know this too. Half of our world is run by a computer.
Yeah.
What happens if the power goes out? That's it. Everything's gone. What happens if, obviously, if something were to happen where the whole grid was wiped out? Oh my! Yeah. I don't think anybody. I would think this is a complete different topic, but. I don't know how generations or
who's going to survive? Who's going to survive better with the power? You pull the plug to the grid and the grid shuts down and there is no electricity whatsoever. Who's going to survive? Gen X or Gen Z?
Gen X, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, then I will say Gen X every time when it comes to something like that, because Gen Z, we do not know fully the real world yet. I mean, we're not we think we do, but that's also kind of assert dominance over the Gen X. Hey, yeah, we think we can do this, but when you give us it, we have to help. We have to have some form of fashion of help. Otherwise, it's going to mess up. Agriculture, when power goes out, boom. You have to start farming. You tell a Gen Z kid to go get in a tractor and go plow a field. What?
Well, there is a lot of John taught ag. There's a lot of students though, even maybe us, maybe it depends, but might have the same thing. Some of them might know how to do it.
Well, and I can
not your TikTokers. They film TikToks every day.
In all defense to a Gen Zer, there are some things that Gen Xers don't know. So it's but it's the mentality of the fact is that, and even if you let's just say you put yourself Gen Z, Gen X, but you put Gen X in the same time period and the power goes off, Gen X will still survive because Gen X, we know how to just try to figure things out. Make do. Survival of the fittest.
Basically.
And so, yeah, that's just my thought.
And so, Jake, this goes for you guys. Should schools and teachers keep all the political or social issues in the world right now completely out of the classroom and just focus on the education that they're supposed to be learning?
I see it going both sides. I see it going both ways.
Okay.
So, let me go into this. So, yes, I think that, we are a generation that will have to eventually, we're voting. We get to choose who's in office. We are part of that vote. And when you see these political things go on, we have to be able to decipher, hey, this is false, this is true. Social media doesn't help with that. Because what we see is especially with the growth of AI is now hey, yeah, this political party is doing this, and really it's not. They just flipped it. Or something else is going on. But we can't tell that because we're so engraved into social media. It's you can't even pinpoint what's true and what's false. And that's what's scary, is true and false doesn't really become a thing anymore to Gen Z.
And that's when you need to listen to your elders.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because that is where we've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have seen the changes. We have seen what's politically, and okay, the answer to to really go back to the question, and my perspective is, if I'm teaching ag, unless there's something politically that ties to what I'm doing, leave it out. You don't need to have it there. But if we're social studies, if we're history, and there needs to be all of this, I think we've gotten away. No, I've not said in a high school.
It should be in for the particular topic it's talking about.
If we're talking about politics and government class, then yes, that's part of it. But there needs to be an equal part. There needs to be. You can't have. If you're going to talk politics, you have to be biased.
Yeah.
You can't be. Your political views have to be left at the front door when you walk in.
Yeah.
As a teacher, yes. it is, they like to say on social media, well, based on what they said and what they do, oh, they must be this.
Yeah.
They must be left, or they must be right. They must be liberal or conservative. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, here's the thing. We all put our britches legs on one leg at a time. We're all God's children. So politics in the classroom only needs to be there where it works, where it's part. But then again, I feel for you guys because of social media and everything involved. And you said it best. We can't determine between right or wrong, good or bad. Yeah. That's when you go to your parents. That's when you go seek out an elder that you can have that discussion. If you want to know about it, talk to a Gen X or a Boomer.
Yeah. And this question for you guys, this is a basic, simple question. Kind of sums up the education topic because we've been going on for a big time with education. Guys, would you think Gen X and Gen Z have more critical thinkers than those who are thinking for themselves? So, meaning what I mean by this question is, this kind of leads up to our next topic about parenting for your generation. A lot of kids rely on people to listen to them. They don't make their own decisions, and they have to remember what their parents told them to do. But sometimes that results of realize that's a bad study because they're not thinking for themselves. What do you guys think about that?
I think you want to go first?
Oh, you go first.
Okay.
Yeah.
My thing is I think we've gotten away from, when it comes to the adult in the room, the parenting, not to jump ahead, but for your generation, I love the fact that and here's a good thing about social media, because we see the debates that go on, and voicing opinions and things of that nature. I feel like that if you're gonna do that, then come with facts.
Yeah.
Come with and if it's your opinion or whatnot, stand, as y'all like to say, stand on business, but own it. Own it. Yeah. You know what? I could agree to disagree, but if you own it and you believe in that, I'll respect you at the end of the day. I may not agree with you, but I'll respect you. But the thing is I feel like that as you deal with this and the generations, and I may have to come back to it. Tell you what, you go on and add some more to this.
So, actually, can you say the question one more time again?
Okay, so yeah, the question
and
was...
that may be where I kind of got off track. Hey, I may need to jump back in, but my ADD had me going 9 G.
It's all good. It's
understandable. Sorry, audience, because if you got lost, I did too.
The editing is going to be fun. So, would you think Gen X and Gen Z has more critical thinkers than those who think for themselves? Basically meaning the kids are not really getting their chance for them to think or speak for themselves because they're relying on others to tell them what to do.
Okay, I will make my point. I'll make this quick. The bottom line is we're not allowing, y'all get to do a lot of thinking, and you get too much in my perspective. I think as adults and as parents, we give them the wrong thing. And, it's kind of like, if you're going to go as a kid and you're going shopping with mom and dad and you're going to buy a new pair of tennis shoes, it's like, okay, mom, dad, I need some new tennis shoes. Yes, you do. You need to be picking out colors. That needs to be a decision as a kid that you need to make.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, simple.
Yeah.
But what I feel like for you all is you've been told, or you've been given some very big decisions to make. And this goes back to that anxiety and depression and whatnot, because there are elders and there are parents and such. And I may get a lot of flack on this one, but there's parents out there that are, I feel like, and this is my opinion, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what I feel like is that parents are giving you all an opportunity, which is a good thing, to make decisions, but they're not backing you up.
Yeah.
And so what happens is little Johnny gets to make the decision. Mom and dad and little Johnny didn't make it together. See, that's what when my parents would do. We would make that decision together. You make it, but then what happens is I think a lot of times parents don't want to make it with their kids, because then if their kid, or if whatever decision comes up and it didn't work, then, hey, that's your fault, not mine. And so they don't want to take the responsibility. It's like, hey, we did this. We made this decision together. My bad. I'll handle this, pull the pressure off. You go continue to march. I mean, am I wrong in thinking this?
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's the way my parents raised me. I mean, literally, if I would go make a decision, my parents would be like, hey, whatever you do or whatever you decide to do, we'll stand behind you. Just know if you look like an idiot, you're an idiot. I mean, there is, and this is a whole nother thing too. It's like when a kid like Gen A, let's put it that way, one of the newest generations, Gen A, other than Gen Beta, Gen Alpha is probably some of the hardest kids to behave. I mean, it's gotten to a point to where that there are Gen Z people, they're Gen Z who are parents. And it's because they've had no control. Like, they haven't had someone to tell them, hey, yeah, no, like, don't do that.
And so, Jake, your topic on that, since we can kind of transition the topic while you're speaking of that, our next topic is values in parenting. This is a big one, you guys, because I did my research on this one, and I kind of found some things out that really put the puzzle pieces together. First off, John and both of you guys can talk about this. We'll start off with Jake. How can Gen Z really be ready for the real world in general if when their parents were raised them in front of televisions and computer screens, who are basically either baby boomers or Gen X parents who are their parents and raised them?
Ooh.
So the topic, basically, John, what this says is that this is obviously a little debate here, is that, you say that, Gen Z is on their phones, they're watching television all the time, but the parents are Gen Xers, and they're letting their kids do this. Why?
Honestly, I would think that, like, it goes back to the free choice. Like, like, I don't know about my parents much, like, and they're growing up with that. Like, like, I know for my mom, for a huge example, like, like, she would do stuff, but she would also have my grandma and grandpa to tell her, hey, or my uncle, even at that sense, like, hey, probably shouldn't be doing that, or like, hey, that's not something we should do. And there was that, like, hey, like, how I think a parent is raised depicts on how their kid is raised, and that's just something that you'll see over time. And that's why, like, some parents are more lenient to things, but they don't back them up.
My perspective on it is that, it kind of leads toward the part of where in my generation, it has to do with technology. I keep going back to the internet. It changed things. It changed parenting. And what I've seen, and it's my generation doing it, it's what they look at. It was tough. We had to work. I know how I was reared, and I know what I dealt with. Now, that all changed because the family business took a different turn, but I worked for my family. I worked for my parents. I had jobs. I did things. Yes, I was active in school and played sports and the band and all that. But then again, the thing is when I needed to know something, I went to my parents. My parents were my YouTube. My grandparents were my YouTube. They were the information that I needed to get when I wasn't getting it from my ag teacher or my whoever I was involved with. I went to my parents, and we just took their word for it. But there was more with the parents. Now that I'm not a parent, I don't have kids, but I've been around kids and been associated with kids, and but there again, I know how I was reared. So there again, we work our butts off to get where we are.
Yeah.
But I hear and I see where parents are going like, I don't want my kids to have to work as hard as I did. I want them to have the nicer things in life because of what's that really teaching you?
It's not teaching you anything.
Go ahead.
It's not teaching you anything. And plain and simple as that. It teaches you nothing. I mean, my coach told me before I graduated, he said, when life comes knocking on your door and you open it, she's going to knock your teeth in. It's as simple as that. She's kicking the door down and knocking your teeth. That's life. I mean, you have your trials and tribulations, but when it comes mostly from your parents. I mean, if you don't grow up in from a Gen Z standpoint, I'll put it this way: from a Gen Z standpoint, Gen Z kids are we free will think.
Yeah.
Like it was like I even apologize to my parents to this day about how terrible I was to them growing up. And like, yeah, I know now like I never should have been that way, but also like social media. That was like I was getting my stuff from social media. Like my brain was like, hey, it's okay to be disrespectful to parents. It's not. I'm just saying that's what my brain was thinking at the time. It's not okay to disrespect parents.
But you were influenced by the influencers.
Yeah, I was influenced by hatred.
And that ties back to that question. And basically, are you influenced by the influencers?
And my influencers were my parents, my grandparents.
Yeah.
And some aunts and uncles.
Well, John, like, this question is also for you. And then kind of, you guys can balance it off here. Gen X was quote unquote have helicopter parents, or were kids raised with more independence compared to Gen Z? Why?
It was because we didn't have, there was a disconnect from the world. Our little world was right there in the neighborhood. Or because I grew up when I was real little, up until the 3rd grade, in a neighborhood where there was other kids. And we didn't have, I don't know if it wasn't so much evil, it's always been evil, but I don't think we knew. Parents didn't know about evil like we do today. And we didn't have, evil couldn't get to our kids as easy as it can today. And back to the internet, my dad would say the internet's the Antichrist, but there again.
That's a great way to put it.
And that's a whole nother topic in itself, because we could get off on a lot of things with the things that he did and didn't do. But there again, the neighborhoods were safe. But then again, parents took care of everybody's parents. We weren't. Today, it's like if one parent was to say something derogatory towards another kid, their parents are jumping on that parent, telling them, "Don't you talk to my kid that way." If I went over to someone else, I remember the worst butt whooping that I got was from Arthur Lee Willis's mama.
Who's Arthur Lee Willis?
He was my best friend, and one of my best friends in growing up in school. And the thing about it is we didn't, if we went over to another person's house, if you came to my parents' house, you know what? You abide by my rules, or you don't get to come back, or you can go home. I'll pick you up. We'll load up in the truck, and I'll drive you home. Parents took care of parents, or parents took care of other kids. Everybody took care of each other. If we're walking down for example, if we're walking down the neighborhood, and there's 4 of us, and we went into this one's house, or we went into that one's house, which wasn't too often because there's a mama somewhere, that's going like, hey, you could get in, stay or stay out.
Yeah.
But we had more moms at home. And so we weren't, but then again, there was times where the bus dropped us off and you didn't have a parent there till that night. But we went in the house, we got a bowl of, cereal, or we got chips, went to the cupboard, we fixed us a snack or something. Then we sat down, we watched cartoons until Mom got home.
Yeah.
There was just ways of where parenting was not judged so much. And as they like to say, it takes a village. Well, we had a village, but nobody was concerned about, we just made sure, hey, you got all 10 fingers and toes. You got all your limbs and everything. Nobody's bleeding. Nobody's died. And everybody took care of each other, and we didn't sit there and judged everybody about how it was handled or how it wasn't handled.
Yeah. I mean, and like, especially today, like, even like one of my friends when I was really young, he'd ride his bike down to my house, and like I'd ride my bike down to his house, and like we'd walk into each other's houses. Like he would literally knock on our door, walk in, and say, "Is anybody here?" Like, but we'd take care of him. Like, yeah, hey, you want dinner? Yeah, come on, come eat. We take care of him. Like if his parents were out of town or something, hey, come on, sit down.
And it's good to still see that it's still going, and it's not totally where it isn't, because there are some good folks out there that definitely have got the good values that are still going on. there's an older couple. They're both 90 years old, still kicking it, and it's so cool to just show up at their house, walk around the back, which I do some work for them. Yeah. Walk around to the back, and just walk in their house. Go in the back.
Oh my! Like, even my dad has a couple friends. I'm gonna shout them out here for this one. They just walk in. Hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh, hi, welcome in. You know, and at first I found it a little weird. I was like, okay, but you know, as I start to realize it, yeah, they're like family, and you know, you can build a bond with, you know, a particular group of people where you can trust them enough to do that. Now, sometimes you can't, and that these days it's becoming more likely you just can't trust whoever comes into your house.
Well, how many times do you pick up the phone and call somebody or text them to say, "Hey, I'm coming over. Is it okay?"
Well, that's me. Like, I call. Like, this is something Jake knows. I go exactly.
I go on the door.
I text them. They're like, "Why are you calling me? I'm busy." I'm like, "I'm not texting you. I don't know your emotion. I don't know your emotion behind the text. I don't know why you're not answering me. I want to call you, and if you don't call me, I won't call you back about it. I'll find something else to do." Yeah. I'm a caller. Like, I will. If you want to talk to me, call me.
And you know what? And I'm gonna 9 out of 10 times I'm gonna answer too, unless I'm just really that busy.
Busy, exactly. Yeah, and you know, then I'll shoot a text. Hey, listen, I'm busy. But you know, I don't want to sit and have a whole full conversation.
Oh, I love it. I've got a particular former student that if they call me and generally it's because they're at the same venue that I normally would be at, being with livestock or rodeo or something of that nature. And so they'll be, "Hey, are you know, here," or just whatever. Or they'll say, "Call me," and but I answer because they call. And then there's other ones that it's like texting.
They're taking the time out of their day to call you.
Yes.
Pay the respect back. And so, guys, this now transitions obviously out of values of parenting. You know, we'll probably hit a little bit of this back down the road, but a workplace culture clash. This is interesting because I talked to my dad a little bit about this. And this might be a little different for y'all, but you might understand it from a different perspective. Worker clash meaning you have younger generations coming into workers for Gen Xers, meaning you have the bosses are Gen Xers, you have the young Gen Zs are wanting to work. What's your guys' opinion on the whole topic of that?
I mean, I work for my dad. I mean, he's baby boomer. So, I mean, our office, where like I work in the office and I work in the shop. It depends. Whatever they want me to do, I do. I know how to do it. So, like, even like at the very beginning, what we were saying earlier is like, yeah, like I had AI help me find a part because we couldn't figure out what it was. We couldn't figure out where it went. That actually helped us so much. Like, it surprised our guy in our front office who is Gen X. Like, how'd you do that? Like, I don't know, just something I knew how to do. Like, it was like that. Easy. I knew how to do it. So I showed him. I showed him how to do it. But then there's stuff like, "Hey, can you help me figure this out? Like, I can't figure out what this is." And he'll help me. Like, that's what we need to see in the workplace. Like, yes, I understand, like, Gen Z wants to one-up Gen X, but that can't always happen. Like, we have to respect the wisdom that they have. Sorry. We have to expect the wisdom. We have to respect the wisdom that they have in order to grow.
And John, we will get back to that question that he was saying. We have a whole thing for that. So the biggest thing overall is, how do older generations workers feel training and teaching Gen Zers? Is it difficult? Do they just, want to get the job done and go? They're not being friendly? Or is, even though like teaching now, you're starting to get our generation starting to want to go teach. How does that affect everything?
Well, I can tell you this much. The problem with me as a Gen Xer dealing with, and before I was teaching, I was in the workforce, and I've been everything from the low person on the totem pole all the way up to the top. But there again, the problem that I have seen and what I've experienced is that the Gen Z don't want to pick shit with the chickens. That's bottom line.
That's so true.
They want to only put in so much.
Yeah.
And then they don't want to go above and beyond, but yet they want that managerial position. They don't want to, and when I mean pick shit with the chickens, you're going to have to be at the bottom. But if you sit there and you do your job, I don't care if you're the one sweeping the floor, be the best floor sweeper possible. And go on and above what that, because here's the thing, what the Gen Xers are doing. We're seeing that.
Yeah.
And what's happening and what I see is, and there's not any passion. There's not any, and you make the comment or in the question about, a Gen Xer teaching a Gen Zer in the workforce. Well, the thing about it is, a lot of times we're looking at it going like, why really put in the effort? Because if it doesn't go your way, you're going to leave. Because there's no loyalty to working at this company. If I don't get what I want in a timely manner that I expect, then, and I'm only talking in general, there's exceptions to every rule. It's like my dad always says, hey, it's like my dad always said, if it applies to you, fix it. If it doesn't, you have nothing to worry about and just go on about your daily business. But what I'm saying is that they're not willing to stick it out. They're expecting more. And so they want to just move out. I may be wrong, but I have seen it too many times because there is no loyalty. It's like, hey, I hear the complaints. I hear the complaints. And the other thing is that a lot of times they won't put this away.
Yeah. I mean, even at the office, we've started a new policy and we're putting it in effect because a lot of other body shops are doing this as well, where if you walk in the door and you're an employee, your phone goes somewhere where either the boss can see it or it goes in your car. And if you take a break, you can take, if you have a water break or something, or if you're doing something, you need a break, then you can go check your phone, but come back and work. You can't be like, okay, I'm just going to take a break real quick, sit and scroll on social media for 30 minutes when you're supposed to be painting a car. You can't do that. That's just wasted time. And really, that's the main problem is doom scrolling. A huge thing is doom scrolling. Because, I'll even catch myself before I go to bed. Oh, yeah. Boom. Boom. Oh, yeah. Next thing I know, oh, wait. It's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock.
2 hours go by.
2 hours gone by, and I should have already been in bed asleep, waiting for
you're not being productive. And the thing about it is, and that's where it goes into the customer service thing. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to all of this, I could go on and on about it. But the bottom line is a Gen Xer, not separating and dealing with things and where in society we drop the ball and the expectations were lowered, and that's a whole nother topic in itself too, but where the expectations are lowered to meet the standards that we thought that were there. And as some people say, it's like, hey, if they got a heartbeat, I hire them because that's all I can hire.
Yeah.
So my thing is I will say this much. When it comes to the workforce, and my advice to Gen Z and everybody else to follow is y'all have a great opportunity. Now, some of you figured it out, some of you haven't. I would say, Jake, you're probably an exception to the rule. You work for your parents, work for your dad. So there again, the bottom line is you take our work ethics, our hard work, determination, and loyalty to a company. Now, granted, if you're getting messed around and you're not getting taken care of, I get it. Yes, you move on. But if you take our work ethics and your information line that you have with AI that's just going to go off the charts with the internet, everything involved, you put them two together, there's nothing you can't do. But I will say this much. I'm going to ask you something real quick. You know what this is?
That is a tie.
That is a tie. Are you sure?
I'm positive that is.
Do you know how to tie a tie?
No.
You don't. You'd probably YouTube it to figure out how to.
Absolutely no. Of course I would.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. But I had my dad teach me how to tie a tie. I can tie a single Windsor, double Windsor. That's the two basic tie, knots to tie for a tie. The point that I want to make and whatnot is that for you Gen Zers and the next one generations, I use my nephew, for example. He's going into 7th grade, and he does ag mechanics, and he's done it. This is his second, going on his 3rd year, and he dressed his AJ Square way. We used to call when we'd have the tie and the sports coat and the slacks and 3-piece suits and all that, and have all this. That was our Sunday go to meeting clothes.
Yeah.
And you say that today, and most people are like, huh? And I know that everybody's gotten relaxed. This is kind of a business casual kind of look here.
Yeah.
And I've kind of getting that way. But your generation, you can be the loudest one in the room and never say a word.
Yeah.
By putting on the sports coat, the tie. It could be a suit. It could be in starch jeans, starch shirt, the whole 9 yards. Because for Gen Xer, even a baby boomer, they could be that person sitting on the other side of that desk. And if they see you that way, they're going to be like, hey, that guy took the time to, and I don't mean pride. I mean taking pride, but you're taking pride in yourself.
Yeah.
You went that extra mile and you will get noticed. And it's those first impressions. See, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all don't worry about first impressions.
Okay, personally, yes, I do. I worry about first impressions. The first impression makes the person. Like, at a law firm or something, if you're going in there, first impressions make all the difference. If you go in there, khaki shorts and a polo shirt, yeah, you're gonna get looked at.
That kind of reminds me of no, it's fine.
Well, and that's fine.
No, but you bring up y'all are really funny. I look like Jason
yeah.
State Farm over here. Yeah, I'm gonna get that in the comments maybe. But this is, you know what, this movie reminds me of that. My Cousin Vinny. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
Yes.
And literally, that is the definition of first impression. You know, they're seeing this, guy from New York walk in there with the cowboy boots and everything. The judge goes, "What the heck are you wearing, boy? You're down in Alabama here. We don't dress like that." We're going to court, and that basically it's a first impression thing. And so,
all Gen X wants to do is bitch and complain about the reality that Gen Z's already built.